from FY13 and were much higher than OBM forecast. In FY15, based on the partial year data available, this appears to have been reversed. Credits are on track to decrease in 14 and to fall well below the amount forecast. Some of this FY15 variance seems to be the result of credits that OBM expected to be taken against the CAT instead being taken against other taxes. Some of it is not easily explained. The timing of the claiming of credits does not appear to have a stable, predictable relationship with when they were authorized. As a result, OBM has reduced its estimate of the credits against the CAT in both FY16 and 17. However, being mindful of the volatility in these credits, the OBM forecast assumes that the credits will resume growing and will likely exceed not only FY15 but also the FY14 amount. Nevertheless, the decrease in estimated credits raises the CAT GRF revenue forecast by $18 million in 16, $30 million in 17. After all this cautious optimism, we've come to one place where OBM is not so optimistic, and that's the non-auto sales tax. The good news here is that after falling short of the original estimate by $58 million in the 4 months spanning December through March, the non-auto sales tax has rebounded in April and May, beating the original July 2015 estimate by $63 million. It now appears that the non-auto sales tax may reach the executive budget estimate for 2015. However, despite the rebounding performance in the last 2 months, OBM has adopted a cautious outlook toward the non-auto sales tax. Most economists would agree that the expected gasoline dividend of additional consumer spending due to lower gasoline prices has not materialized. Savings in gasoline purchases appear to have been largely either saved or used to pay down debt. In addition, Global Insight forecasts for personal consumption call for only a 1.4% growth in non-durable purchases in FY16 and only 2.5% growth in durable goods other than motor vehicles and parts. Total retail sales are forecast to grow by only 2.7%. Finally, employment growth, which was very strong in calendar year 14, which has picked up again after a weak first quarter, is projected to slow down in the period 16-17. More fundamentally, the shadow of the Great Recession appears to still linger over U.S. households and their purchasing and saving decisions. As I've remarked before, research shows that recessions precipitated by financial market crashes and the recoveries from such recessions are different than ordinary recessions. They are marked by such behavior as deleveraging by households and businesses and an abundance of caution in consumption and investment decisions. Given this background, the U.S. chose to continue to be cautious in its forecast of the sales tax. Finally, outside the economic picture, the Department of Medicaid has reduced estimates in the managed care caseload in fiscal year 16 and 17, which in turn reduces the estimated sales tax for the managed care premiums by about $48 million in 16 and $36 million in 17 compared to the executive budget. Based on all those factors, OBM's forecast of the non-auto sales tax is reduced by $95 million in 2016 and $109 million in 2017 relative to the executive budget. At the beginning of the section, I compared OBM's revised baseline tax revenue forecast for the conference committee to OBM's executive budget forecasts. I would note in closing, the revised OBM forecasts are $52 million lower than the introduced budget LSC forecast for 16, but $102 million higher than those LSC forecasts for fiscal year 17. Turning to the FY15 ending balance. At the time of the introduction of the executive budget in February, OBM projected an FY15 GRF ending balance of $970.4 million. After setting aside a carryover balance equal to 0.5% of GRF revenues, that left an unobligated fund balance of $812.6 million. The executive budget contained a recommendation for the disposition of that unobligated balance and included reserving $200 million to support permanent income tax reduction, transferring $375 million to the Budget Stabilization Fund, and transferring $227 million to address various contingencies and non-recurring costs. Both the House and Senate versions of the bill maintained support for the income tax reductions and the Budget Stabilization Fund transfer, albeit at different levels in the case of the income tax reduction reservation. These versions of the bill also made other adjustments to the remaining transfers of the year-end balance to support various policy initiatives. Based on the revised revenue estimates I presented today and slightly lower than estimated spending, I now expect the ending balance an ending balance of an unobligated ending balance of $1.15 billion, an amount approximately $340 million higher than what was estimated at the budget introduction. The administration suggests that this additional ending balance be used to support the cost of adjusting the income tax withholding tables to reflect the 6.3% personal income tax rate reduction contained in both the House and Senate version of the budget. That withholding adjustment costs approximately $270 million and is a one-time cost in the sense that it shifts from one fiscal year to the next, certain tax revenues. Any amount remaining beyond that level should also be deposited in the Budget Stabilization Fund, which under the provisions of the Senate bill, as its target balance increased from 5% of prior year GRF to 8.5% of GRF. Turning to revised Medicaid estimates. The executive budget contained the appropriations necessary to fund the projected costs of the Medicaid program for the upcoming biennium. Those forecasts can be divided into two parts. First, the estimated cost of the existing program, or the baseline, and second, the estimated cost of savings and any new reform proposals. The baseline portion is the projected cost of the program under current law. That is the expected cost of providing health care services to individuals expected to be enrolled in the program under current eligibility requirements, while paying providers the rates that are currently set in law or according to rule, without assuming the adoption of any new reform proposals. While the executive budget and the versions passed by each chamber of the General Assembly have all contained a number of reform items, my purpose today is to provide you with information about the administration's updates to our baseline projections based on more recent information. The primary update to our baseline projections relates to a decrease in the number of expected enrollees in the program. There are several reasons why we expect caseload to be less than originally projected. First, for calendar year 2014, Ohio had a one-year waiver from conducting Medicaid redeterminations. In February 2015, the Department of Medicaid and County Departments of Job and Family Services began implementing the federal requirement that Medicaid eligibility must be redetermined on an annual basis. The recent experience with redeterminations led to lower estimates of caseload. Second, the Global Insight Economic Forecast decreased the projection of the unemployment rate, which led to lower estimates of caseload. Although this reduction was offset somewhat because Global Insight also reduced labor force participation estimates, which led to slightly higher estimates of caseload. The reductions in caseload projections and the lower than expected take-up rates in MyCare Ohio equate to a reduction in managed care enrollment. In addition, there was an uptick in projected Medicare-related costs because federal government increased the amount of state funds clawback states must pay to the federal government for the state share of the Medicare Part D program. Updating our baseline projections to incorporate these factors, as well as updating the estimates of the executive proposed policy changes contained in the Senate-passed version of the bill, yield revised projections that differ from our February estimates as follows. All funds Medicaid estimates are now lower by $261.3 million in FY16 and by $251.6 million in FY17. Total GRF estimates are now lower by $341 million in FY16 and by $357.7 million in FY17. State GRF estimates are now lower by $123.4 million in FY16 and by $63.8 million in FY17. What is most relevant to note today, however, is our projected appropriation needs based on HB 64 as amended by the General Assembly. Both the House and Senate version of the bill utilized LSC February baseline Medicaid estimates, which initially enabled appropriations to be lowered in the House from our executive budget recommendation levels by $258 million in FY16 and $336 million in FY17. The Senate subsequently returned to the executive baseline for only the Medicaid services funded through the Department of Developmental Disabilities. Thus, the Senate-passed version of the bill still contains LSC-related baseline assumptions as follows. All funds appropriation needs have been assumed to be lowered by $224 million in 16, by $278 million in 17. GRF appropriation needs have also been assumed to be lowered by $224 million in 16 and $278 million in 17. State GRF appropriation needs have been assumed to be lowered by $29 million in FY16 and by $92 million in FY17. From my perspective, The General Assembly's use of LSC February estimates essentially pre-spent much of the benefit from OBM's conference committee projections. In some cases, overspent. The appropriation levels necessary to support the Senate-passed version of the bill can only be lowered by the amount by which OBM projections are lower than the LSC assumptions already incorporated into the bill. In other words, Medicaid appropriations can be adjusted by the net of the OBM projections and the amounts required to reverse the General Assembly's LSC appropriate assumptions. All fund appropriations can be reduced by $37 million in FY16 and by $26.4 million in FY17. GRF appropriations can be reduced by $117 million in FY16 and by $79.7 million in 17. State GRF appropriations can be reduced by $94.4 million in 16 and increased by $28 million in 17. The following table summarizes my comments, and this table reflects the Medicaid spending across all of the Medicaid agencies.